are you doing today? What time are you? This must be incredibly early, is it?
We're 8. It's 8 o'clock here.
Oh, it's 8 o'clock. All right. You're in good shape.
We believe education through awareness is a solution to stop rhino poaching. But when we hear that right here in the USA, Americans are selling the right to kill a rhino, how do we begin to educate those people?
Well, honestly, I think there will be some people that you can't educate. I think there will be some people whose minds you can't change. But I think they're in the minority. I think there are people like myself and yourselves who think that this is the wrong thing to do, and then perhaps there are a great number of people who haven't yet made their minds up. And I think those are the people that we need to educate. So I wouldn't personally spend a huge amount of time trying to change the mind of a committed trophy hunting individual who is going to go and try and kill rhino or other species, whatever we say. I would like to speak out, and through you, I think you should speak out to the millions of people who maybe haven't made their minds up, and when they hear your case, I think can be very persuaded to speak out against trophy hunting. Yes, I think we're making progress, but it obviously it's slow and it's difficult, and it's sometimes kind of hard to measure whether we're making progress as well, because it's not like we can put numbers on it, but because changing people's minds takes a long time, and it takes a lot of debate, and it takes a lot of constructive argument. But I do think that we're making progress, and I think one of the signs of that is the fact that there are so many young people who are interested in these issues. They maybe haven't taken it to quite the extent that you have. I think you're pretty outstanding in that respect. But they are interested in the issues. They're willing to listen to argument and debate, and they're willing to make up their minds. And I think that there is a change. I think the world is becoming more interested in what I would call compassionate solutions than in exploiting animals such as trophy hunting them for fun or for sport.
What else can we as kids do besides our educating the next generation of leaders?
Well, I think that the main thing is not to stay silent, and you're both very good examples of two people who refuse to remain silent and want to raise these issues at every opportunity. You're prepared to go to extraordinary lengths to do so, and I think that that's kind of the mission. The mission is, if no one says anything, then people are not aware of what the problems are. We have to talk about it to our friends, to our colleagues. We need to talk about it in school. We need to talk about it to the media. And we need to make sure that wild animals who don't have a voice through us. So I think you're doing a great job.
Have you heard of the Dallas Safari Club?
Yes, I have, sure.
What is your reaction to this thought? The harvest of one animal for the betterment of a species, especially one as threatened as the black rhino, is conservation in practice.
I'm not a supporter of that point of view. I don't think that what I would regard as the exploitation, abuse and mistreatment of one animal in order to make lives better for other animals is acceptable. And I think, imagine if I said to you that I'm awfully sorry, but your dog, your companion animal, is going to have to be killed or suffer, but it's going to make lives better for lots of other dogs, and this is a perfectly healthy dog that I'm talking about. Or even more extremely, if I said, well, here's an innocent human being, and for the greater good of humanity, this innocent human being is going to be mistreated or even killed. We would say no to that. So I think we also have to say no to the idea that killing one animal and then claiming that is going to bring benefits to the species as a whole is acceptable, because I personally don't believe it. I'm committed to the individual.
Hunter researchers say that because of them, wildlife is sustained. Is this true?
Well, I don't think there's been a great deal of evidence to support that. And in fact, more recently, just literally in the last year or so, the government of Botswana, a country in southern Africa, which up until this point has been a major center for trophy hunting, has banned trophy hunting. And the reason they gave was because it had a negative impact on wildlife populations. So I think maybe that the pendulum is swinging back in a different direction, away from these claims that trophy hunting can provide really significant resources to local communities and to poor African governments, for example, and towards a much more compassionate agenda. The figures are quite interesting. The last time I looked, the trophy hunting industry in Africa was worth about $200 million a year. That's the claim made by the industry. Well, Kenya, just Kenya on its own, generates about $1 billion a year from non-trophy hunting wildlife tourism. So I think that you have to look at these things in context and in scale, and I think that trophy hunting is a marginal operation performed by a small number of people who are relatively the elite, and I think it bypasses the rest of us. But it's not that I'm concerned about. It's the message that it sends out, that wealthy elites in certain parts of the world, whether it's the US or whether it's in Europe, are willing to exploit and kill the natural resources and the wildlife of poorer countries in other parts of the world for fun. I mean, I think that there is a moral dimension to this. It's not just about numbers, and it's not just about economics. It's about morality. And I think there are a growing number of people who feel that it is morally unacceptable to kill and wound and torture animals for fun.
What do you think would make someone want to kill a rhino of all animals?
Well, I mean, it's really hard, Carter, to get into the head of someone who would want to do that. It could be that they have a huge ego. It could be that they have so much money that they really can do anything that they want. They may believe that the human race is the superior and dominant race of animals in the world, and that we can do what we want to other animals. We are effectively, the animals are there for our use, rather than we are here to protect and to be their guardians. As I say, it's hard to get into the head of someone who thinks like that, when I absolutely don't. And I don't think we're necessarily, as I said earlier, going to be able to change the minds of people like that. But there's a lot of people who would find that approach extremely offensive.
So organizations that endorse this auction are World Wildlife Fund, International Union for the Conservation of Species, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Is this a really bad thing?
I would rather suspect, I have to say, that the many hundreds of thousands or millions of supporters of the World Wildlife Fund, I think a great number of them would be very surprised and perhaps concerned if they were to be made aware that their organization supported the trophy hunting of this rhino, or supported the trophy hunting of elephants as part of the management of the species. I find it rather difficult to have the notion of a name like World Wildlife and to be willing to accommodate animals being killed for fun and for sport. So maybe it's a question that you might want to ask them, but I can tell you that from the position of the Born Free Foundation and Born Free USA, we, as I've said before, believe in the individual and in the need to protect and care for those individuals, just as we believe that human beings are not numbers but are individuals and should be treated accordingly. And we do not believe in the killing of animals for sport. I think that there are excuses, and people will say, yes, well, it might provide food for the local community, and it might provide some employment, and it will provide some funds to the local community or to the government. But at the end of the day, in my view, those are all excuses as to why you carry on with this activity, not really good reasons why you would do it. And I think we can save wildlife in a different way, in a more compassionate way. So I would just say to Carter and Olivia, stay true to your principles. I was thinking earlier about this. One of the things that I find so depressing is that so many young people start off with great ideals, and then for some reason, whatever it is, when they enter the world of work with all the pressures and other things that apply, and then they become our elected leaders, they seem to forget what they really thought as a young person, the true principles on which their youth was based. And I'm kind of hoping that Carter and Olivia change all that and become the generation that remembers, when you're in power, what you thought of as a child and what mattered to you as a young person, and that you make sure that your policies, when you're the people making the decisions long after older people like myself have gone, that those decisions are based on what you truly believe, not on what is easy to do or expedient at the time. Really good to see you and talk, and good luck with all the rest of the things you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well done.